Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really powerful that's quietly changing the game for how people communicate community media. It's all about giving a voice to those who've basically been on mute for way too long. Let's get into it. Wow, what a way to kick things off, right? This quote gets right to the heart of it. It frames community media as more than just another option. It's like society's immune system kicking in when mainstream media either ignores local problems or just completely loses touch with the people it's supposed to serve. It's a pretty radical way to think about it. So that naturally leads us to the big question. What is community media anyway? To really get a grip on its power, we first have to understand what we're even talking about. Okay, so here's the textbook definition. But the key thing to grab onto here is that this isn't media about a community. It's media that comes from the community. The keywords tell the whole story. Owned, controlled, and operated by and for the people. And the goal is to serve, not to make a profit. You know, this chart really helps put it all into perspective. You've got your commercial media, which, let's be honest, is all about the bottom line. Then there's public service media, which has this big, broad goal of serving the whole country. And then you have community media, which is laser-focused on local issues and, most importantly, is run by the locals themselves. Getting that difference is super important. And these four principles? They're basically the DNA of community media. It all boils down to this. The community owns and controls it. Its whole mission is to serve their specific needs. Everybody is encouraged to get involved and create stuff, and it's all done not for profit. When you get all those ingredients together, you get something pretty special. All right, that's enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and look at a real-world example. And it's a fantastic one. We're going to dive into the story of an organization called Mobile Vani. So picture this. You're in rural India. Not a lot of people have internet access, but almost everybody has a basic mobile phone. Well, an organization called Mobile Vani looked at that situation and saw a huge opportunity, a way to connect people who'd been completely left out of the conversation until now. And the way they do it is just genius. It is so simple. You just give a specific number a missed call, so it costs you nothing. Their system then automatically calls you back, also for free. And then, just by pressing buttons on your phone, you can listen to stuff, and this is the game changer, record your own messages. But here's the thing. This isn't just about a bunch of people sitting alone with their phones. This technology actually helps build real, face-to-face communities. You see these volunteer clubs, especially for women, using the platform to start conversations, share info, and create these safe spaces where they can finally talk about things that were maybe off limits before. Okay, so this gets us to the real heart of it all. We've got this simple tech, we've got people who are engaged. So what? What's the actual real-world impact of one single phone call? I mean, it's a totally fair question, isn't it? It's easy to be a little skeptical here. Can just listening to a message and recording your voice on a phone really change anything out in the real world? Well, the answer is a huge, resounding yes. But the change doesn't happen overnight with some big protest. It starts small. It starts inside a person's own mind. The first domino to fall is when someone learns something new, hears a different point of view, and their whole perspective just shifts. And the kind of stuff people are learning is just incredible. They're hearing discussions that tear down dangerous old superstitions. They're finding out about government programs they were entitled to but never knew existed. They're picking up new skills, everything from farming techniques to parenting tips. And maybe most importantly, just by participating, they're building the confidence to speak up. And then you get stories like this. And man, they just hate you. This isn't some abstract theory. This is a real father who heard a story about parenting, saw himself in it, and it completely changed how he interacts with his child. That is a massive impact. And it all started with just one person, in one family, listening to one message. But here's the really crucial part. These individual changes, they don't just happen in a bubble. It's like a spark. When one person speaks up, other people hear it and think, hey, I'm not the only one. And that's when all those individual sparks suddenly catch fire and become this collective power for change. And this is what that power looks like when it's unleashed. You had a local mafia illegally blasting rocks, trashing a river, and even threatening a bridge. The community tried everything, protests, petitions, and got nowhere. So what did they do? They took their story to Mobile Vani. And the flood of voices, of shared stories and outrage, it created so much pressure on the authorities that they had no choice. The blastings stopped. That, right there, is the power of a community finding its voice. Okay, let's pull the camera back a bit.
The mobile Vani story is amazing, right? But it's really just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's part of a global movement, the worldwide fight for community media. And let me tell you, it is not an easy fight.
And make no mistake, the stakes here are incredibly high. We're not just talking about sharing local news or recipes. Community media is a vital tool for people to tackle the biggest problems they face. We're talking environmental destruction, unemployment, public health, the really big stuff.
But here's the reality. When you give a voice to the voiceless, some people with power see that as a threat. So these little organizations face these huge hurdles. You've got governments making it almost impossible to get a license. Funding is always a battle. Powerful people, politicians, corporations might try to shut them down. And all the while, they're trying to get noticed in a world dominated by media giants with massive budgets. And yet, they're still here. They survive, and a lot of them even thrive. So how do they do it? They do it because their strength doesn't come from big money or political connections. It comes from the ground up. It's fueled by volunteers, by small donations from the community, and by that simple, powerful human need to be heard. So that brings us right back to where we started, but now we're looking at it through a whole new lens. We are swimming in this ocean of global media, just a constant stream of information from everywhere. And in the middle of all that noise, what's the real power of just one local voice? Well, after everything we've seen today, I think the answer might just be everything.